I'll just start by saying my name is Tessa Peters. I'm Director of Development for our new Reno chapter of NORML. I'm very excited to do that because of just all the expansion it means we can have. I do want to give first thanks, of course, to Comma Coffee, first and foremost. Big thanks to June for allowing us to be here. It sounds like we might actually get a chance to do regular meetings here, which is really awesome news because Carson rocks. I love you guys down here. Like, such a good community. And also big thanks to you, Noah, sir. Noah, I'm calling the Carson captain. Huge part of why this came together today. So very happy about that. Yes, if you want to get on camera, your face is there and say hi. This is Noah. Okay, so a couple of things. So I guess I'll start with saying 2020. I'm really excited about this because we have a new chapter. We are going to grow, we are going to build, and we have a lot that's on the way. We definitely are excited about our monthly meetings that we have set. You can see some of the posters here about the first Reno meeting. We have a new date, time, and location. So we're going to have Reno meetings the second Wednesday of every month, and it will always be at Hukava. They're so wonderful to give us a space for that. It'll be 7 to 8 p.m., so we'll keep it a short hour, so if you can come up for those, that's awesome. Like I said, chat with you, we'll have another date for you guys down here, and of course, social media. We're going to try and keep everybody really connected as best we can. So, okay, so looking forward, I will say, what I am looking forward to, I just love where we're at, being across from the Nevada Legislative Building. This is too perfect because by next year, guys, we're going to be out there in droves. Hi, welcome. We're going to be seeing, trying to get people down in a really fun and big way. We're talking about limo rides, lift rides, we're going to bring the community down, so we're going to keep it awesome. I'll give you your racket to give your friend. Sorry, it's a little bit torn up. Okay, so that's for next year, but for tonight, kind of to set the tone for what we are doing and why we're here. This is not about politics, it's very much about policy from what Nevada NORML is standing for all together. We want to educate you tonight about what's happening across the board with all the candidates, just so you know where they stand. We're going to talk about how the caucus actually goes, because Nevada is one of the few states that still does this. It is an archaic process, but I'll tell you how fun it can be. And then, of course, we'll wrap up and talk about our Smoke the Vote, kind of our big push for the year to help people get registered so that their voice makes a difference in our community too. So the slideshow we're using tonight is going to come from Las Vegas. I want to give big thanks to Maddie and to Tina, who are really in charge down there and in charge of all of Nevada NORML, because they're helping keep us in the flow with what they've got. We'll usually have their PowerPoint. We'll update it a bit where we can, and we'll always share that with you guys too, so you get access to it. So in short, and of course I hope you guys can read this well, Reno NORML is a grassroots non-profit organization working to educate our local community, especially about the laws. There's so much changing with them and so much we can change about them still coming next year. Reforming marijuana laws and, of course, protecting responsible cannabis consumers in Reno, Carson, and Greater Nevada. Because I think there's a great community of us. We are all representing what cannabis is, what it should be, and that people shouldn't be so fearful. We're here to work together with them too. So. Welcoming our new board members. I want to go through this briefly. First, we'll start with everybody. This is Christine, if you'll stand up. She is our executive director for the Reno chapter. Right, next to that, Jen, she is our deputy director. Both of these ladies are really large and in charge. And do you guys have anything you want to say in 15 minutes?
Honestly, thank you for coming here. I know it's sometimes tough to make it happen and make the arrangements to get here, especially the faces that I'm seeing from people that don't live in Carson. We appreciate you guys helping kind of connect those two cities. We're really happy to be starting a chapter. We're happy to see the movement. And honestly, it's really nice to work with a team that works well with Vegas. Hopefully we can get a Carson group going, get them jiving with Reno, obviously see a bigger picture altogether, but the fact that you can see so many like-minded people, at least in this figure, is a huge thing. So we're happy that you're here. Thank you.
Awesome. Also here tonight, I'm going to jump ahead, so myself, I'm Tessa. I already introduced myself. I'll say, when they told me I got to be this, I started crying and cheering at the same time. Heather is up here tonight. She's our treasurer, wonderful gal. Happy to have her involved. Conchita. Hey. She is our communications director, rocking that social media. I love how you're working it so far, sharing that updated information. I mean, things change every day, every week, and we're going to try and keep on it for you guys and keep you connected. Kelly Rush is not here tonight. She's our political liaison. You can actually catch her on, I forgot the radio station, but she has a Rush Hour show, America Matters. I believe it's an AM station, but she does a regular show. She's definitely in touch with people, so we'll have little updates from her in the future, like snippets everybody can catch anytime throughout the month to catch up on that. And then Noah, Carson Captain. I put you all in. I guess for our first thing, we're going to go through the presidential election, our candidates, and where they stand as grades. I'll let Christine start reading some of these out to you guys. We'll talk about each of them, starting with Joe Biden.
All right, so there's kind of like one mantra that the cannabis favoring votes, I guess, more or less. Biden is not cannabis friendly. He's made that very clear. In fact, he's the only candidate that is not favoring federal legalization. So if there's one thing that you need to remember if you're voting anybody but Trump or Biden, because they're the only two candidates on a very, very large scale that have actually verbalized and acted upon making that happen. Bernie Sanders is highly favorable, so NORML actually puts out a survey style to grade all of our representatives, basically rates them on their action that they've had, what they've verbalized, obviously if they're supportive of these laws and acts that go into Congress. Bernie Sanders has been pretty influential and consistent for decades, from the 80s, and he actually is one of the few candidates that got that A grade. So Elizabeth Warren is also in favor of cannabis. She also stepped in with the States Act, which is a huge, big act that's in our favor, I guess. But she did receive an A as well, so big deal. She's not only sponsored different legislation, but she's co-sponsored, and she has kind of stepped in exactly how she said she was going to step in. He is in favor of marijuana reform, but he has yet to sponsor or co-sponsor any legislation that would show that he would do so. He does really truly believe that it's a state's right. So again, obviously we want someone that's going to represent our states, but maybe a little less bold in his statements and what he's choosing.
Amy Klobuchar.
So Amy received a B grade, so hers was not necessarily bad by any means. She has co-sponsored the States Act, and but has yet to sponsor any legislation or really be loud and vocal about where her stance is, other than she is in agreement for that.
Tom Steyer.
So Tom Steyer actually did not get a normal grade, and I'm not sure where we are yet, but he has verbalized, but he hasn't got an actual letter grade. But he has verbalized that he's in favor for legalization. He basically wants to kind of end that and express more of the MORE Act, which is another act that we're pushing. And he also is from California, so he likes to make jokes that Californians are pot smokers. So he's a little bit, stands for a little stronger. She actually received an A+ grade from NORML in 2018, so she hasn't received her 2020 grade yet, but she did at one point stand heavily. She did sponsor the Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act in 2017 to current, so she's definitely on board, and she's co-sponsored a handful of other favorable cannabis regulation. Trump is obviously not on board for cannabis legalization, but more importantly, he's ready to take away state rights that already have the state rights. So obviously that would be going way too many steps backwards for where we have fought so hard to get this far. So again, goes with our little saying, vote for anybody but Biden or Trump, because they're going to backstep our progress.
And to really dive into that one too, great, you put up a post about it on our Renal Normal page. It was Monday night. It was funny. We were all just on a phone call, and then like right after that, like everything changed. And you're like, wow, because we were literally talking about that he's been anti but not active about it. But then there's always now that extra possibility with what he just laid down there. So definitely, of course, just choose accordingly as you need. But this helps you kind of make sure if your candidate that you're looking at is aligned with your values about cannabis policy in general. So my piece I get to talk about is the caucus. Oh my God. So what I get to tell you about is just the experience of how you go through it, because I myself decided to just go for it back when it was Hillary versus Bernie kind of stuff happening around our state. I was like, I just want to see what this is and how it goes. So let me tell you, it's hilarious. And I met a celebrity. I was like, how is this possible? Like, how is this possible? So what I'll start with actually is, more importantly than the caucus day, This year there is early voting. So in Nevada, it's definitely going to be a paper ballot. They don't want to have what happened in Iowa, the digital stuff happening here is what I've heard and read. So I'm like, that's fine. I'll check something on paper and send it off. So with that, I'm going to actually switch gears here to show you online. So to find out, what I want to state first is if you're registered as a Democrat, you're able to go to the caucus. If you're registered as a Republican, you actually have the opportunity to choose to switch your status. You can do it during early voting, you can do it day of caucus, and you can participate if you want. They have no rules against that. And then of course, if you want to switch back afterwards for all of your needs, you definitely can. But that's a possibility, which I was just like, I can't, okay, sure, try it. So for the early voting, it's pretty simple. The website is nvdems.com well, not really forward slash, you can click on the 2020 caucus stuff just on the top here. But for the early voting, it is literally as simple as putting in your address, which I'm going to go ahead and just do mine for you guys here. I'm up in Reno, northwest corner, and I found this interesting. I actually checked a couple of addresses, and I'll tell you why. My area has one place, one date, one time to go make my vote. And I'm in northwest Reno. I looked at my buddy in Gardnerville. They get 5 different days, all of the days, all these times, and I'm like, how do you get so many of them? So it does make a difference. So in my case, for instance, I'm looking at setting aside time on Tuesday the 18th from 12 to 5:30 p.m. heading up to the library near me. I gotta go there anyway, so it works out well. And I'll go in and put in whatever little vote I can and make my choice early, because I don't want to repeat necessarily the process that happened before. But if you don't know any deeper about like your precinct location, if you're registered, you should get a card like this in the mail, which I just got a new one since I changed my name with my married last name. But the precinct is what I circled over here in the corner. If you don't know that as well, you can also go to nvsos.gov/SOS, and you can actually type in more information, and it'll tell you exactly what your info is. Because if you look at the list that you can download about where to vote, I mean, it looks as complicated as this thing does. Like, this has all the places to go vote, and it's like lists of precincts, lists of them, so you have to know your number and find it out. So if they don't make it, supremely, superbly easy, but it's not too hard. So early votings are out. I'm gonna do this here myself. The rest of the process is very much in person. So early vote. Okay, so when you find where your precinct is, if you're going to go to the caucus day, it's going to tell you what location you're going to for that. In my area, it was a local school just right around the corner. And when you get to that place, you want to get in line first, and it's funny how the candidates tell you differently. I have Tom Steyer telling me get there by at least 12 at the latest, and then there's Bernie saying be there at 10 a.m. I did the be there at 10 a.m. There's a lot of line waiting. So bring a chair, I'd suggest, maybe a snack and some water. But you're going to be in line with all the people you know in your neighborhood, and they'll file you in. You don't need an ID, but they do, I think, kind of check you on the backside, making sure you're registered in some way. I don't recall that. But what I do recall is they sectioned us off into different classrooms. And when I got in my classroom and I sat down, I looked to my right, and there's the mom from Titanic sitting with me. I was like, I know those piercing evil eyes. Like, what are you doing in this classroom? Who are you? So for her and Susan Sarandon and a lot of other celebrities came to the area. They went to the tribes. They were definitely like Bernie surrogates is what they called themselves. I was like, ooh, that's intense. But so you might have some interesting guests in your room who are helping you with your decision as you're making it. But ultimately, all you're doing is they literally have you stand on side to side. We had just 2 people to pick from. I don't know if there'll obviously be more by that time still, but you're going to go to that corner or that side of the person you choose. They will ask you, final answer. You get a chance to change your mind if you want. It happens a lot inside that room, but once you make that final answer, you stay where you are and they count it. Once they've done that, they're going to do a little bit of math and figure out how many of you in that room will represent your segment in the next portion of the caucus. So at that point I was like, yeah, sure, I'll be a delegate, so sign me up for that. What do I do next? So if you are choosing to do that, once you've done that, you've made your vote, and then people need to represent. So if you participate in that, then you're going to be heading on to, excuse me, notes? Yeah. Then you're heading off to, of course, the county version of it, the Washoe County one. They held it at that time at Lawler Event Center. Very likely it'll be at that same spot. But unfortunately, guys, it's 420 weekend. It'll be 418. So if you want to participate, you're going to maybe choose between carding that day. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a gummy inside, but it would make some of the time pass by because you are going to sit for a long time. Again, the bringing a snack is important. They do sell a lunch if you want to get one, but you have to pre-order it. And then once you get into your side-by-side, I do believe they were counting us on the way in, kind of heading off and giving us something in hand. And then once you're in there, you sit in your seat and you don't move from your seat because they need to count you in your seat as well. Then they give you the opportunity again, final answer, does anyone want to change? We had one fun lady, just one, who just wanted to have a good time of not deciding. We're like, lady, we want to go home. So she ultimately chose her side, they did all their counting, and then again from there, they're narrowing down the delegates who are going to go to the next step. The final step is May 30th, and you head down to Las Vegas, and that is where the final decision comes together in that room. I didn't participate in that one because I just really couldn't take time off from work at that time, but I do wish I had because I'd like to at least maybe participate this year and see what that final leg looks like as well too. So I'm not a huge diehard, but I just am curious. So I was like, let's adventure with it. So with that, basically, it's really your persons is all that matters in our caucus, and only the Democrats do it. The Republicans do not do it in their state. It's kind of silly. I hope to do it on Sunday, but in the meantime, this is how you get to make that vote of which candidate you want to represent. So at the very least, I'd look up the early voting online, find out where you can go, get your vote in, and to make your voice count for that for sure too. So, any questions for me about that?
Actually, do have a question about the register and vote. Can you, for example, switch from like Republican to Libertarian or Democrat to Libertarian?
Yeah, you can make a lot. I don't actually. I won't say about the Libertarian. I don't know. I've never done any swapping in that one, but they let a lot of Republicans become Democrats the day that I was there, and obviously it says in there too. You're allowed to make that choice to flip and participate. So I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that. But all right. Speaking on that, next let's talk about registering to vote a little bit. Miss Jen, you ready for your rocking turn in here? Yeah.
We have our Instagram. If you follow us on our Instagram, we do have a little snippet in the bio, I believe, where you can go register to vote. You can also find more information about registering to vote, Smoke the Vote, which is the campaign that we're running, as well as all the other shenanigans that we get into on the NORML.org, the blog. You can go to vote at vote.org. There's plenty of places you can do it. It's really simple to do it online too. It doesn't take very much. Other than that, you follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. I would like to see everybody get into our group chat. That would be really cool. So we can kind of keep each other up to date on more of what we're doing. And other than that,
Right. The voting is just an important piece altogether.
Yeah.
If you're not already registered, actually, is
we
anybody
do have
not
registrations
registered?
here too, if you guys aren't registered to vote.
Is everybody in here registered? Everybody's good?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you guys are doing it.
Early voting, no?
Oh, you think
This weekend?
For 15th, or 15th through the 18th, yep, and that's the early voting for just the caucus for the Democratic nominees. So if you're a registered Democrat, you are definitely needed in Importante, so get that rocking. Yes, yes.
My understanding is that in Carson City, most people's early voting site is at the community center in the Ponderosa room. And the tricky bit, because we're a capital, because the federal holiday on Monday the 17th, even though that's listed as a early voting date, that place is going to be closed on that day. So it's kind of, it's a little tricky. Yeah, President's Day.
Correct.
The community
Have
center
that day
room
listed,
won't
you're
be open,
correct.
and it's hard to miss. I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's easy to miss.
There, yeah.
Yeah. But definitely, at least you get a few times to work with at that spot. So you guys have, down here, you have the 15th, the 16th, and the 18th. Looks like 10 to 6 on that Saturday, 1 to 5 on that Sunday, and 10 to 8 on Tuesday. So you've got a big window on that Tuesday after the holiday as well, too, which will be really useful. Is anybody from anything other than Carson City right here? Anybody another county? From Lyon County, anything like that? This one, I just got this today in the mail. I was like, well, that's a useful one. I'll be sad when Tom Steyer stops writing to me. But yeah, so voting stuff, I guess, if anybody needs any information, the best thing you can do is share with other people to get registered, get involved. Like, it doesn't take a lot to do, but it can make a big impact and difference for what the future of some of our businesses, what the consumers is, medical patients, advocates, all run the gamut. So that's pretty much it. Woo-hoo! All right, guys, I guess so before we kind of jump forward, do you have questions about anything we went over today at all? guys are good on that. Do you guys have any questions about who we are as Nevada Normal? Or is anybody unfamiliar with Normal, by the way? I forgot to ask. Everybody knows it? I like you guys. See, Carson's prepared. Yeah, love it. So then I guess a little bit that they left on here for Vegas. So some of the next steps of how you can help share what you learn, because definitely the people coming into your dispensary, if you're my bud tenders in here, they're the people you want to get super involved with. You want to help protect their rights, their shopping experience, all the above, help them know how they can do that. Pop-ups and stuff, we're definitely going to get more of those rocking and rolling, so if you're interested, definitely reach out to one of us. We'll get you involved. Yes, sir.
So what exactly entails potentially volunteering for a pop-up?
Basically, I would say mostly standing with one of our signs and getting signatures. I actually have some of our stuff here under the email sign where that went. It's getting stuff like signatures for the MORE Act. We collect those so that we can send them to the legislators and drop them on their desk and be like, all of these constituents want you to look at the MORE Act, please, and move it forward, which you can also do by calling, which I love that. We had a virtual lobby day on Veterans Day. Yeah, that was so cool. It was. And just calling over and over and leaving messages, tagging them on social media. Oh my gosh, if that's all you do in a day, tag the heck out of them.
Wasn't there a response from a politician? Someone wrote a response on like how many calls were made that day?
Yeah, Maddie got a response.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, see? It'll change the world. And it's even just leaving a quick message. Nobody's hurt, nobody's bothered. Do your thing. Becoming a member, it's great to be a member of the national organization if you want to join and help out. Not sure about monthly, that member fee there. Attend monthly meetings. We told you where the next one's going to be at, and we'll work on making sure you guys have it too. Are you guys open to the third Wednesday of every month? Do you have an okay time frame for Carson to get together?
Third or second?
Huh?
Third or second?
Third.
Reno would be second.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Vegas always does theirs that first Wednesday. We follow with the second Wednesday.
Carson
Yeah.
for third.
Yeah.
Third? No, I got it. All right.
Exactly. Just rolling through the as we can. Don't worry, fourth will be guaranteed. And then of course, volunteer time on projects. If you want to know what the projects we're working on, we can let you know so you can get involved in those. There's a lot. We won't even try to dive into that yet tonight, but we'll clean it up by the next meeting for that. Yeah.
And just as like a side note, since I am one of the few people here in Carson City, I work at Rise. If you guys ever have any questions or coming in shopping, I'm happy to answer those questions or help out in any way while I'm here or at work. So you can always catch me there. I have a normal little booth set up with all these petitions too if you ever need to grab some or anything like that. I'm always here and available too. If you want my contact info, I'm happy to hand that out today too.
And Noah got over 222 signatures when he did his, I don't even know, one
First
day.
one.
Oh my gosh.
First two, sorry.
And I'll say the last one I think is an important one.
Yeah,
Commit
right.
and follow through. There's people who will kind of dabble in this, and then there's those of us who really want to make a huge change, and we are looking for and really want those who want to help us make a big change. Like if you think about cannabis on a daily basis, you can give normal 5 minutes of your time daily. You can help make a huge impact and difference altogether too.
I need help out here too, so if you guys are willing to pass out flyers and stuff like that, I'm looking to build a team out here that's willing to help me out too, so open to that also.
I'll give you one thing you can do to help immediately when you go do any of your early caucusing. Tag Reno Normal, tag Nevada Normal, show us you've been out there, show people your activity. Social media is a great way you can stay involved because just showing people more about us is easy to do. Just remember that little tag, read these minus. All right, and I think that's it.